Hey everybody, I'm David Corsaro, and it's time to be awesome. I am here with the incredibly funny Geoff Williams. Geoff, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, hi, yes.
Some of you guys might know Geoff from his 2-volume DVD set that's out, Miracles for Mortals, or you might have seen him at a variety of conventions or lectures around the country. Geoff is definitely one of the funniest magicians working today. And I kind of wanted to talk to Geoff about his approach to magic and comedy, because everybody wants to give an entertaining performance, and a lot of people want to sprinkle comedy into their magic, and I sort of wanted to get your approach to it. How much do you push comedy into your magic, or do you just sort of let it fall naturally? What's your general approach?
I was kind of a class clown when I was in grade school, and I found out that other people tended, in some ways, to share my sense of humor. I see everything as funny. Everything is literally, there's a joke somewhere. Although I don't try to share it often with people, because it can get real annoying. We all have friends who all they do is joke constantly, and that's really annoying. So I try not to do that on people, but constantly in my head, everything is hilarious. And I let some of it out, which ends up being in my routines and my show and stuff.
How much of, if you watch Geoff Williams perform, how much of the humor is scripted, locked in there, and how much of it is improv?
I try to script everything first. I'm a huge fan of scripting. If you script, then it's a safety net. You know where you're going to go. And for me, I need to know, am I saying the same thing over and over? Maybe I should have said this earlier, and you can see that on a script where you're not going to see that in just doing it. Because it's just going to, you'll find out, oh, that was wrong, it felt wrong. And I'm constantly moving blocks of text around in my script, and when I get it the way I like it, and I've edited the whole thing down to try to make it as concise as possible, even as far as picking the best words that have a good cadence as well, because it's like the rule of three. You know, if I say Larry Moe and you're like, say Curly, just say it, because inside there's the rule of three is an internal kind of thing. It also goes along with how the English language is constructed. So I try to have a cadence as well that goes along with some of the stuff. And it's annoying to me if I can't seem to get it fixed. And the script does it. It doesn't seem to come out naturally for me.
What doesn't come out naturally?
The
humor part of it, or the final script?
The construction.
The construction.
The construction for me is not natural. Individual jokes I don't seem to have a real problem with for some reason. It just seems to be something that I see something and I'm able to comment on it if it's funny to me. Hopefully, other people will find it. Sometimes not. I mean, so it's like Jay Sankey. I love the guy, but he's hit and miss on a lot of his comedy. And he'll do something or say something that you'll go, wow, that was just weird. But somebody on the other side of the earth is doubled over. Their eyes are, they're crying, they're laughing so hard. So that's just the way comedy is. And I try to, if I do come up with something, I try to make sure, is this the best way to say this? Does this sound funny? And a script is going to bring all that out.
Do you worry at all about the comedy taking away from magic? Are people laughing so much that by the end they go, oh my God, I missed what he did, what happened? Or do you worry about that? Do you purposely avoid that?
If my goal was to have the most magical experience for my audience, then I'd say, oh, I'm totally missing the whole... I didn't miss the bullseye, I missed the whole frickin' target.
Okay.
My goal is entertainment. I want the people going away saying, that was the best time I've had in a long time. There was magic, there was comedy, the guy was funny, he fooled me a lot, but it was just, I just loved that evening. That's the goal. Now, I want the magic to be good, I want the comedy to be good, and I don't necessarily think, okay, have I put too much comedy in this? Do I need more magic? Do I need something stronger here necessarily, magic-wise? I try to make sure that the comedy doesn't go on too long. That's there's a routine that I'll be doing tomorrow here at Fechter's, which is I have to make sure I don't talk there's a lot of talking before we get to anything. And I'm trying to make it move quickly, but I've got some really nice lines that I want to be able to use. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, jokes are like children. You know, when you cut one from the show, you're saying, you know, move out of the house. And that's a real hard thing to do, but we have to learn to edit. And getting back to it happens on paper. Yeah. And so there's some things that are in the original script that won't make it into my part of the show tomorrow just because of time constraints. I need the thing to move along quickly. And that's just the way life is. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan of scripting and trying to put the comedy in with the magic, and I really don't care about the exact mix. The audience will tell me. If there's too much of a break, it's like Amazing Jonathan. I guess he's got a record for having the most laughs per minute in an entire show. It's just constantly. You don't want to have too much downtime if you're a comedy magician. Right. Consequently, if they're not having a really good time, something's got to go. Yeah. Something's got to tighten up a little bit. Yeah.
We talked the other night about you talked about your character on stage and how there's certain jokes that you get away with because of the way your character acts. So talk for a minute about that. Talk about how you perceive your character to be, why you feel that gets away with jokes, and then how you came up with the idea of, okay, this is the Geoff Williams I'm going to present to my audience.
Yeah, I have a background in theater, which is if you're going to get into magic in a performance level type of thing, and especially if you want to become a full-time pro, do community theater, acting lessons, get some stage time that doesn't have anything to do with magic. That's really, really important. So I've already had a theater background because of college. Consequently, character to me is what it's all about. And for most of us, our characters on stage are merely an amplified version of a part of our personality. Okay. And some people who aren't funny, if you say, I just never thought the guy was humorous off stage, he never seemed to tell a joke that I understood or got or whatever, and if they try to be funny on stage, maybe that's not the part of the character that they should be amplifying as far as their character goes. And because of that, I think I can get away with I don't really insult my audience. I do. At one point, I treat my audience like a dog, and literally go, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Geoff, how could complete idiots like us learn a card trick in only 3 minutes? And then I chastise them, and I say, well, don't be so down on yourselves like that, people. My character doesn't understand a lot how the world works. Yeah. And so that, to me, is absolutely hilarious. It's not necessarily how I perceive the world, but I want my humor to be aloof a little bit. And now I can make fun of the audience, and it really is making fun of me because I'm kind of an idiot. And it works for me. That particular character works for me really well.
The thought that popped in my head was almost the mentality of like a Steve Carell in the Office, where he doesn't realize that what he's saying could be perceived as negative because it's not coming from that place. Yeah. You brought up a great point a second ago about if you're going to do a full-time pro, the importance of acting, theater, character. What about the people out there who are full-time pros, but they're doing kids' parties, they're doing restaurants, they're not performing at comedy clubs or in theaters? Do you feel it's still important to have either A, a character, or B, a theater background if you're working restaurants, trade shows, kids' parties?
Yep, because if you're working a restaurant, you still have a theater, it's just only about 4 or 5 feet wide. And everything else applies. Everything applies beautifully. From how you address your audience, how you come out onto stage, and your character. I mean, there are certain things that are do's and don'ts. You're going to learn a lot of that from theater type training. And Toastmasters, what a great organization for people who are going to be public speaking. You can get rid of your ums and your okays. And how many of us, I had them, don't worry. I mean, I was a huge and okay person. They were constantly through the show. And I've pretty well gotten rid of most of them. Every now and then an okay sneaks out. But I don't do ums anymore, which is what people say when they don't know what to say, but they feel there needs to be noise coming out of their mouth. No, don't say anything. Just let it be. And you're actually better off. But people are afraid of silence.
It's a great point. I think there's a lot of, I don't call it amateurs, but there's a lot of people, working magicians, who don't take that theater background. They don't take, and perhaps the feeling is, well, that's not important. That's not, I'd rather spend that money on the next book that comes out. I'd rather buy the next DVD. Because that's not important. And it really is. There's an element of knowing how to be a performer, not just a magician.
Right.
It's a big difference.
It's obvious. Whenever you've got a deficiency, if your pros are so high up, and your deficiencies are really so prominent, it's obvious to everybody. If you were a bodybuilder and all you worked on was your legs, and you had massive, huge muscular legs, and your upper body was stick thin, people would say, wow, great, but needs work. And that's exactly what happens if you're a performer. You really need to have a really well-rounded type of character and abilities on stage. I don't have to be a FISM quality manipulator, but if I'm doing manipulation, I pretty well better have a lot of my stagecraft down, which means if you're going to be, say, producing cards, but the audience over here can't see, Dale Sawak will tell you, you need to produce cards like this. Oh, that's brilliant. You wouldn't know that unless you took a specific type of thing that told you this is how you need to be for a stage situation.
I remember Geoff McBride talking about when you produce cards, your shoulder blade should be against the wall. The eye, because that's how you're not doing it this way where you're blocking out half the audience. If your shoulder blades are against the wall when you perform, now all of a sudden everybody can see you.
Yeah.
And it's not something that you pick up on. If that's a professional, theatrically trained magician who understands staging and blocking and audience viewpoints.
And a lot of times that's uncomfortable. To be standing, it'll feel really weird. In Chavez school, they say you have a pane of glass that your hands should be against when you're doing it. And the glass is always going to be on your outside. You can't have the pane of glass running through your body. It's going to be over here. And great advice, very difficult to take because it feels wrong. It's not how you're going to be more than likely practicing at home if you haven't been shown the do's and don'ts, if you don't understand the requirements of being able to perform for an audience that's in those angles and type things. So it's critical that you get some kind of stage experience so that you can then go through it. And McBride's, that's why he's so successful. One of the hardest things you can do is manipulation from the standpoint that you don't really interact with your audience very much. As a close-up performer or comedy performer where I'm speaking, at least I've got some way of communicating. McBride, you're producing cards. How does the audience get involved with that at all? And Geoff's a perfect example because he does it with his body language and looking at the audience and making a nonverbal connection with them during that part of his routine. It's brilliant. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and look at a McBride video and you'll learn a lot.
Bring up a good point, and I want to sort of just touch on this, which is if you were to go out and you were to make a list of the 5 or 6 best performing magicians out there, and when I say best, I'm talking about people that lay audiences love, watch how many of them are incorporating these things that Geoff is talking about. You'll see that they understand theater, they understand pacing, they understand character, they understand scripting. That's not an accident that they're the 5 or 6 favorites or the most popular, and they also happen to have that stuff. That's not an accident.
Right.
They know what they're doing. And what's really cool, and I'm really glad we got into this, Geoff, is that watch Miracles for Mortals. Watch Geoff do magic. And when you do, watch it now. Watch it here knowing what you just talked about, and you'll start to see, okay, when I watched it before I heard Geoff talk, I might not have realized how much went into each of the card tricks that Geoff's doing. It's not just, here, watch, watch, watch. I'm going to put this here, okay? Okay, watch what I'm going to do, watch, and now it's on the top. Watch Geoff do it. You'll see these things in action. And you might think that they're accidents, but they're not. These are things you've put your time in on.
Now, a lot of things might be accidental along the way. In other words,
But that's come from your training.
Yeah,
You've learned it.
The final product that you might see, say even on the Miracles for Mortals, might have taken 10 years to get there. And how many lines did I originally put in that are out, and how many things happened accidentally in performance that then I ended up putting in. So the show's never necessarily static. I'm always listening to the audience and want to try to make things better over time, obviously. But yeah, just definitely listen to your audience. Boy, they'll write your show for you. It's so cool. Really
listen to your audience. You know, take these other factors into consideration: the scripting, the pacing, the audience management, the way that you're blocking and your stage performance. These are the full-time pros that are out there that are successful, that are popular, meet these requirements. And if that's ultimately what somebody's goal is going to be, or even if you're not, and you're not a full-time pro, but you just want to give the best performance possible, you want your audiences walking away going, I like that guy. Yeah. I had fun there. That was it. A lot of the stuff Geoff's talking about makes a lot of sense. One final question regarding comedy, which is, for a lot of people, it's tough to write comedy. It's tough to write something that's funny. How do you write your jokes, find a trick to go with it? Do you invent the trick and say, how am I going to make this funny? Or do you do both?
Most of the time, and this is going to save you a lot of money if you can do this, by the way. Here's a big tip. Define your character as closely as you can, and then when you walk into a magic shop or through a dealer room at a convention, there are certain things that you won't buy, no matter how cool they are, because it's not something my character would do. Like, I'm having a difficult time justifying the beauty of either the linking rings or a dancing cane with my particular character. Unless I can figure out the angle that I want to put on it, I'm not going to plunk down the money for the newest and greatest trick just because it's the newest and greatest trick. A lot of people are doing that, and we've all got drawers full of stuff we're not using.
Yep.
I do too. But I'm saving money more and more every year the better my character gets defined. And with that, I'm finding that then it starts to be more natural when you say, this, I'm going to take this, put this in my show. I love the effect, and I tend to do effects first and then figure out what's going to be my presentation. It's not going to be like what's on the instructions. It's not going to be like what everyone else in the Magic Club or what I've seen on television is doing. I want something that when people say they think of this particular thing, it's like, oh yeah, Geoff's, nobody does it like that.
And you'll see that a lot too, because I've seen stuff, and I'll see a trick in the dealer's room, and I'll stop and go, the Geoff Williams trick. You immediately start putting magicians into it just by seeing it, because you go, he could kill with that trick.
Talking about fake dog poop, okay, and that's people. I wish they wouldn't point at that and have my name associated with it. Really.
The Geoff Williams fake dog poop.
Really, yeah, you know,
Volumes 1 and 2.
That reminds me of Geoff. You know, and a lot of times they're talking about my act in the general sense,
but not specifically. But that's the way it works. Well, Geoff, I appreciate you coming on. Geoff's going to do a quick little piece of magic for everybody here, so you can see that he's got the chops as well as the mind. And so we'll take a quick break. Geoff will come back to do a trick for you guys, and we'll close it out. Thanks, buddy.
Yep. Wash your hands. You come back. Hi, I'm Geoff, and you're probably not. This is kind of cool. I'm going to use these two things, which you call rubber bands, and ever since I moved here from China, where I was born, I'll show you how this works. And you think I could press on the orange one in such a way that it goes through the yellow one without breaking either of them? I'll teach you. Watch. This one goes right through. Look. It can be examined. It's in the notes. Okay, whiners. Look, here, I'll do it the hard way. There it is. Ready? Here we go. Keep your eyes on it. 1, 2, don't blink. 3. Oh, your camera, you can't blink. Check it out. Doesn't that look real? Actually appears that it's gone through. This is like my favorite part, thanks to Joe Reinfleisch. Here we are. And, oh yes, I think I just peed a little, didn't you?
Well, that was really great, Geoff. I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you doing some magic for everybody. If you guys want to learn more about Geoff, you want to get some of his products, you can check out geoffwilliamsmagic.com. That's GeoffWilliams magic.com. And we're going to link to that right here on the website, so you can go right from there. Go check it out. From his website, you can find his email address. So if you have any questions about some of the stuff he talked about, shoot him an email. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to answer. We appreciate him coming on. Thank you very much. I'm David Corsaro. That's Geoff Williams.
The Magic of David Corsaro. Incredible DVD, right? It's brand new. In fact, I want to thank you so much for, I would like to give you a copy of my lecture notes, no adult supervision. Isn't there normally $20 plus shipping available directly from me? But this is a free gift to my friend, David Corsaro, who just recently came out with The Magic of David Corsaro.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, yes.
I do appreciate that. Yeah. No adult supervision. I'm going to check this out. I appreciate it very much.
Don't wave it so fast if you hold it up, just like that. Okay, don't move it. Yeah, there you go. Appreciate that.
Slices it, dices it, Julian.
It does.
Check out geoffwilliamsmagic.com. I'm David Corsaro. That's Geoff Williams. Now, go be awesome. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye. Perfect. Welcome to the trailer for The Magic of David Corsaro. Now, as I see it, all trailers for Magic DVDs nowadays have to have 3 things in them. Your card, the King of Hearts.
Get the f*** out of here,
Is that your card?
Wow. You're hot.
But not this DVD. The trailer for this DVD is going to be a little different. I'm going to let the material speak for itself. Check it out.
You know, every time I see David perform, I always think the same thing. That is a nice suit he's wearing.